This episode of Stories Inside the Man Cave is brought to you by our good friends at Honest. A brand new name, but the same quality remains. Honest Plumbing and Air is the new name. Give them a call at the number on the bottom of your screen. Honest Plumbing and Air, where a handshake still means something. Number 3 is back, and there's a lot to analyze about the college football playoff rankings. My advice to everybody, including myself, tap the brakes. Remember, the only rankings that really matter are the final 4, the last ones after the Big 12 and other conference championships have been determined. A lot of people getting worked up, but let's analyze it all. And let's talk about it.
I'd say the biggest thing to note now, Quinn's going to start Saturday night, and we're obviously as a team excited about that. He's had a great week of practice. I feel very comfortable with his ability to operate the offense.
Okay, it's a piece of a development with UT football that with Quinn Ewers returning after that AC joint injury to his throwing shoulder, it's honestly an announcement that, my opinion doesn't matter. Does not matter, but you're watching to see what I say. Maybe you're just learning about this. This is a day old, 36 hours old. But my opinion doesn't matter. But my whole point being that I was not anticipating Quinn to return for another 2 weeks. I thought maybe he would be back for possibly the Iowa State trip, but definitely for Texas Tech and the Big 12 championship. At the very least, the Big 12 championship. But the reason why I don't have issues with it, because I'm not with Quinn. You're not either. We're not in that. We're not see practice. We don't know his pain threshold. I've heard he has a high pain tolerance, by the way. But I've seen these injuries, AC joints and shoulders. They're lingering, and they're very difficult. It's all about how much you can tolerate pain more than anything. But being on the throwing shoulder makes it difficult. And the one that really sticks out, the injury of the AC joint, that what keeps me thinking about this, and it just as a concern for another individual, that being Quinn Ewers, is Sam Bradford. I was covering OU football for the Fox affiliate in Oklahoma City. 09 season. He'd just come off the Heisman Trophy winning year where they played for the national championship, a game that arguably Texas should have been playing in against Florida, and Tim Tebow at the Orange Bowl. It was the BCS National Championship. Well, beside the point. First game of 09 in Jerry World against BYU, Sam Bradford gets hurt. He had AC joint injury. In comes Landry Jones. Fast forward 4 weeks. Here comes Sam Bradford back against Texas in the Cotton Bowl. And Aaron Williams on the blitz. Sam lands on that shoulder. That's all she wrote. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Quinn. I just was not anticipating him to come back this early. Now, tough young man. Just keep that in mind. And my opinion is that beginning with TCU in Fort Worth, that TCU is going to be gunning for his shoulder. No one's going to admit that, but I'm going to throw it out there. It's just part of the game. One thing I do love about Steve Sarkisian, I really do, is how he's cool, calm, collected. In that Thursday press conference on the Zoom, very subtle, very cool. He does this every week. Just, by the way, Quinn will be receiving the start. He's back. I'll guarantee you what had happened is Maalik Murphy, he's developing. He is developing. He's made some key turnovers, but he's developing. And they see that this team, this is a commentary, opinion. I don't know this is fact. I think what they determined was, we have a great backup in Maalik. of a great true freshman in Arch Manning. But we need you, Quinn. We need the experience down the stretch because we do have a legitimate shot at not only a conference championship, but playing for a national championship and playoffs. But what a great story that would be if Maalik is counted on to win these big games. And it could very well happen when you look back at some history of these AC joint these injuries. But could be a great story ending that Quinn leads Texas to championships and does so through fighting through the pain as this AC joint injury heals. All right. For that to happen, Texas needs to be in the top 4 of the CFP after the Big 12 championship. Texas needs to make it to one of the 2 spots in the Big 12 to receive a chance at a championship and win it, because they're not going to make it if they lose another game. Let's just be honest with each other on that. So there's a lot of talk about why teams aren't ranked the way they are right now. Don't worry about it. That's all part of the plan here, is to get people divided, talking about things over and over and over and over, and say, well, they don't belong here. Just tap the brakes a lot. Accept this for what it is. I know a lot of people, you're doing this because you're like me. I anticipate this. It's a lot of fun, but we're playing into the hands of what ESPN and the folks with the college football playoff want. They want people talking about it. They want the tweets, the Instagram posts, Facebook talk. People, it's like divided country over here, but it's fun. But a lot of people are wondering why Oregon is ahead of Texas or even Alabama at the 6th spot. Well, it doesn't matter. But Oregon, they're 1-1 against teams currently in the CFP field. They've had some impressive performances. Okay. I'm not the guy to ask why teams are ranked where they are, because I don't agree with a lot of this. I believe that Alabama should be ahead of Texas right now. I don't believe it. I believe head-to-head wins do matter. But I'm all about when things happened. Like, I think Texas is a definite top 7 team. But I think Alabama's above them because of when the loss Alabama had to Texas and all of their top 15 wins after. Texas then proceeds to lose to Oklahoma, who's not in the CFP field. Well, they are, but lower, like 17. We'll get to that. And Texas has kind of struggled to win. They've won, but they're struggling to win. Texas is a good team, but they may just play up. I don't know what the problem is. But if you look at this, this is what I want everyone to watch. Look at Ohio State, 2-0 versus the CFP field right now. They got Michigan, but Michigan is the wild card here because of what's going on in the investigation. And Harbaugh has been suspended from coaching for the rest of the season being on the field, but he can coach them. But here's what Georgia, 1-0 versus the CFP field, but they've got Ole Miss and Tennessee, and then if they make the SEC championship, then you go down to Florida State, 1-0 versus CFP field. They don't have any more games against teams who are currently in the CFP, except maybe in the ACC title game. And this is where I think it really gets interesting. Washington, okay? What if they beat Utah and Oregon State, 2 members of the CFP? You'd think that would leapfrog them into the top 4. And with Oregon, too, if Oregon wins out and wins the Pac-12 championship. A lot of things are going to be happening here. Seriously. And then we move on to part 2 of this. This is where we talk about Texas. This is where we talk about Texas and Alabama. Look at this. Texas and Alabama have played 4 games each, both 3-1 against those 4 teams in the college football playoff field. Identical resumes for the most part, except Alabama's wins are against top 15 teams. This is going to help them. What if Ole Miss beats Georgia and ends up going to the SEC title game. What if? But Alabama has the inroad right here. And Penn State 0-1, but they've got Michigan coming up. A win over Michigan. I mean, Michigan's distracted right now in the Big Ten title game. So let's just say a what if for Texas. Let's say Texas figures this thing out and just wins down the stretch and finishes 11-1 the regular season. They're in. And then they beat whoever finishes number 2, which just looks like it's Oklahoma State. So after seeing this, don't you kind of see my point? A lot of things are going to be changing over the next 2 or 3 weeks. A lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's why we talk about it so much. It makes you drink a little bit if you're a drinker, which leads me to this. If you ask a coach, what does he prefer after a game? Well, Sam Pittman, the Arkansas head coach, he recently came off a early day win over Florida last week. And, man, he was recently asked what his favorite cold one is because it's well documented that he loves a good cold one.
You know, I like them old pint Miller Lights, and I like them a lot. And so Jamie and I called on the bus from the airport, called Tim Z's Pizza, and went by, grabbed a pizza, and then went home and watched LSU in Alabama and chugged a few down, had a good time, and was thankful to the Lord that he gave me the opportunity.
Love him. How do you not like Coach Pittman in Arkansas? Unless you're a Texas fan and you just don't like Arkansas. No. Coach Pittman, I would love to have a cold one. A pint, 16 ounces. But I'll take Michelob Ultra. Miller Lite's good. It's okay. But if we're going domestic, Michelob Ultra. What's your favorite tailgate? Pint. Let's talk about it. Let's hear from you. Hey, it's all I've got. Happy game day. Enjoy it. Texas, TCU tonight. All these games are important to Texas. And just don't worry about that CFP. There's a lot to it. A lot. I guarantee you in 2 weeks, things are going to look very different. There's not going to be as much debate as you think there will be. Everything's going to play itself out. But then you got to wait another week for probably, let me refrain here. I think after the conference championship games, they will all figure out those spots. But I do think we'll probably have the number 4 spot may be up for the debate. It just adds to it. That's why they're going to expand the field. And of course, we know one thing. We'll talk about it. Have a great weekend.